Hello everyone, this is Ankit Jain. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. This is part 6 of our platform event series. In the previous parts, we have discussed how to publish the platform event, how to subscribe the platform event. Moreover, we also discussed few additional concepts, including how you can validate whether the platform events has been published successfully to the event bus or not. In this part, we will discuss how the platform events automatically gets fired using the batch apex whenever your batch apex encountered any error. This is one of the mechanism where you can do the error handling in the batch apex. So if you want the platform event, it should fire automatically using the batch apex whenever any error or any exception encountered in your batch apex. Then the first thing that you have to do here is you have to implement the interface database.raise platform event. If most of you folks already know that whenever we are creating the batch class, we have to implement the database.batchable interface. Now, in addition to the database.batchable, we have to implement one more interface, that is the database.raise platform event. If you are implementing this interface, basically any error or any exception encountered in your batch apex, automatically the platform event, that is the batch apex error event, is automatically fired. That is the batch apex error event platform event is automatically fired. So this event, it can be fired from all the three phases of the batch apex. It can be fired from the start, it can be fired from the execute, or it can be fired from the finish method as well. Irrespective of the type of error that you are getting, whether you are getting the limit exception, or you are getting any handled exception, or you are getting any unhandled exception, right? Anytime if you want the platform event should get fired, then you have to implement the interface, that is database.raise platform event. Now you have fired the platform event. Now the next thing here is you have to subscribe to that platform event, right? So as we discussed in the previous session, platform event is a two-step process. First you have to get that published, and after that you have to get that subscribed. I already covered the different ways to subscribe the platform event. I would appreciate if you let me know in the comment section as well. Now, to subscribe to the platform event, one of the way that we are using here is the triggers. You can also do the same thing with the flow as well. It's completely up to you. In this demo, I am showing you with the help of trigger. So what you have to do here is, here you have to write down the trigger on the batch apex error event. Here we discuss that the event name here is batch apex error event, right? As we are using here the batch apex error event to fire the platform event, here we have to go and create the trigger on the batch apex error event. And as I have highlighted in the previous session, you have to implement the after insert event. After that, you can navigate over all the details from the event and collect the async apex job ID. Here under this batch apex error event, you will get this async apex job ID. Once you got all those details, then you can make a query to the async apex jobs and fetch all the job related details. Once you have all the job related details with you, you can do the different error handling for the different batch classes. Let's say you are implementing a common error handling class for all the batch classes that in you have in your org, but for the different batch classes you want to do some different action. For example, for one of the batch class you want to create the task, for another batch class you want to send the email. So what you can do here is, from these job details you can get the batch class which have invoked this event. And once you have that detail, again you can navigate to the batch apex error event, and you can fetch the complete details about that event. The good part about the batch apex error event here is, this event is full of information that can easily help you to understand why the batch apex is failing, for what record the batch apex is failing. Generally we don't have that kind of an information when we go over the apex logs, right? But here we do have all these details available with us. So it's our job basically now to store that details either in a custom object, or if you want to send an email with all those details, you can do all those things, and after that you can do the error handling from here. So this is how folks you can publish the platform event from the batch apex, and also you can subscribe it by using the batch apex error event. Now, let me show you with the demo as well how to publish the platform event. Basically, it will be published automatically. Our job only here is to implement that interface, and after that, how we can subscribe it. So, in our demo, as soon as the event has been subscribed, we will go and create the task record inside the Salesforce and assign that task record to the failed record. So, let's move toward the implementation part. So for the demo purpose, I will go and create the batch class. In that batch class, I will go and select the account records where the industry is energy. So here I am creating the batch class for demo. In this batch class, so to let the system know this is the batch class, here I am implementing the interface, that is the database dot batchable for the S object, right? And as I'm implementing this interface, there are three methods that I need to invoke. First is the start method, so public database dot query locator, method name is start, and the parameter here is the database dot batchable context bc. And similarly, I do have two more methods, so let me first go and create the method. Second method is execute. This method return type is void, and the third method is finish, for which also the return type is void and the method name is finish. My execute method have one more parameter, as from my database dot batchable context I am only querying the records which is having the industry as energy. So let me go and return those records here. Database dot get query locator, and here I am putting my query. Select id comma name from account where industry is equal to, let's say I'm only querying for the records where the industry is energy. So here I am putting the value as energy, right? Once I got those records from here, what I am doing here is to intentionally fire the error message. I will iterate over those records. So I am first accepting those records here, and here I go and put for account acc from the account list. Here I am making acc dot name, which is kind of a mandatory field, is null, right? This is the mandatory field for the account object, and what I am doing here is I am making this field as the null, right? So definitely, as I am making this field as the null, definitely the exception will occur. But I don't want to handle that exception here. I want that exception to be handled by using the platform event. And for that, what I am doing here is here I go and implement the interface, that is the database dot raise platform events. Here I am implementing the interface database dot raises platform event. It should not be raise, it should be raises platform events. Right? Once I have implemented that interface, that whenever any exception occurred, if I am performing the update operations on the account list, platform event will automatically fire. And let me go and put the system dot debug here, batch class completed. Okay, now let me go and deploy this. Now as I said, the next thing that I need to do here is I need to do the error handling, right? So to do that error handling, I am creating a trigger on the batch apex error event object. Here I go and create the trigger, so control shift p, create apex trigger. Let's say handle batch apex error, right? In this trigger, I am creating the trigger on the batch apex error event object. So here I go and put batch apex error event. Here I go and put batch apex error event. And as we discussed in the previous session, whenever we are handling the platform event using the trigger, we should always use the after insert event. So here I am using the after insert event. After that I am checking that if the trigger dot is after and trigger dot is insert, then generally we don't write any business logic in the trigger class. So I am creating the helper class for this. So again control shift p, creating the help, creating another apex class, naming that as an helper class and creating that class as well, right? So in this helper class I am creating one method, public static void, let's say after insert, and we will go and put our business logic here. So the job of this method here is to invoke the after insert event, and what I am passing here is the trigger dot new, right? So job of my trigger has been done. It have handled the error message, and here it have invoked the helper class. Now in the helper class, as we are getting the uh, trigger dot new, here I am accepting that value. So again I am creating that on the list of batch, what is that, trigger batch apex error event. So here I am putting the list of batch apex error event, and here I am putting the error event list, right? So whatever the business logic that we have to write, we will write now here that logic. So the first thing, as I highlighted on the slides, first we have to figure it out for which class we are getting that error, and we can get those details by using the async apex job id. So here I go and define the id list first here. So I am getting that uh, asy async apex jobs id set is equal to new set of id, right? So here I go and fetch those details by using the async apex job id. So again, we are not familiar what all different fields are available there. So here I go and open that object batch apex error event, and we will see how we can get those details. It's always remember to help to do that with the help of documentation. So here we do have the field as the async apex job id. By using this field I can get those details. So here I go and iterate over this for, let's say, batch apex error of the batch apex error event list. Sorry, this is the error event list, and from that what I am getting doing here is, here I am adding that job id. So here I go and put, it should be batch apex error dot, and as per the documentation in this field we do have the id. So here I go and added all those ids here. Once we got the list of the id, now I have to get the job details. To get that job details, I need to make a query on the async apex job, and whatever I am querying, what I am doing here is I am storing those details into the map collection. So here I go and put async apex job map, and here I go put the jobs is equal to new map of id comma async apex job, and here I go and define my query. So here I am putting the select id. Let's say I need the apex class name, apex class dot name from async apex job. Async apex job is the object in which you will get the details of all the asynchronous jobs that are running on your org, and what all details that we are interested in, that for which the error has been encountered. So here I go and put where the id in, I already stored the id in this collection variable. So here I go and put that details. Once you got all these details about the async apex job, and you do have your jobs with you along with the class name, now the next thing here is you can again iterate over these details and create the task record as per your requirement, or whatever the automation that you have to do, you can do that automation here. So what I am doing next is I am again iterating over those records. So for that again I am using the for batch apex error event. Here I go and put the event of error event list, because this is the event list of events that we do have. Now the next thing that I need to first do here is I need to validate for which batch apex class I am doing the error handling. So I already have the Apex class details available here. So let's go and compare this Apex class detail with the Apex class for which we are doing the error handling. So here I go and put for this jobs dot get. Here I am putting the event dot, because here we do have the async Apex job ID, right? So I am getting the value from the collection variable and comparing that with the Apex class name. So here I'm already storing the Apex class dot name here. So here I go and compare with this value. Again, I'm repeating, although I do have the async Apex job ID here. So based on the key, I am getting the value. Again, if you are too confused how I am doing it, let me go and break it down in a bit easy way. For this is specifically for the beginners, how I am doing it. So from my map collection, first I need to get the record based on the ID. So what I am doing here is, uh, let me go and put the return type here as the value, right? And here I am putting the job details is equal to, now here I do have the jobs dot get. Which value I need to get? I need to get the async apex job id. So here I go and put the event dot async apex job id. So if I am making using the get command on the map collection, what it will return? It will return me the async apex job. Now here you can have the async apex job stored into one of the variable. So here I can go and put that the apex class name is equal to, so from the job details you can get the apex class dot name, right? So this is how you can get the apex class details from the async apex job. Now you got the apex class name. Here you can go and compare. The apex class name is same as the batch class, which is responsible to fire the platform event. So here I go and make that comparison by using the double equal to operator. If this condition is true, then what we can do here is, in our system we can go and create the task record, right? But again, there can be more than one record which can be the cause of the failure, right? So and in which field we do have those detail. Again, if you scroll down further to access the record id, here we do have the field as the job scope. Under the job scope field, they are storing all the record IDs which are responsible to fire the event, right? But again, in this job scope, it's a field of type rich text area, and in which they are putting the multiple record IDs separated by the comma. So what we need to do now here is, we have to iterate over this variable which is of type text area. So what we will do here is, first we will convert that text area field into the collection variable. As I'm highlighted, all the values are stored in this field separated by the comma. So what you have to do here is pay close attention. You can use the split method here. So here I am getting the each and every item from the event dot, what is that variable name? Job scope dot split, and here I am putting the split with comma, right? So that what the split will do, split will convert the break the string and put it into the list form. Now I do have the actual item available here. Now you, if you want, you can go and create the task record here. Let's go and put here task item is equal to new task. Now what all the different fields that you need to populate, we can definitely go and populate all those fields here. Let's say the first field that I want to populate here is the what id. So here I go and put the what id is equal to, so my what ID is nothing but the field for the record ID in which I am storing the record. Again, it is of type string and it is of type ID. So what I am doing here is, I am doing kind of a type conversion here. So to store that ID details. Similarly, in the subject, I also wants to store task item dot subject. In this field, I want to store the exception message. Again, to get the exception message, you do have the exception message available in the field exception type. So what you can do here is, from the event you can get the exception type to store the exception message, Now the next thing that you can do here is, if you want, you can also populate the description as well, is equal to error logged by batch class for demo. This is how you can populate all those details one after the other. Now, as you perform the DML operation outside the loop, what I am doing here is I am creating here one collection to store the task list. So new list of tasks, and in this task list, we will go and add the task. And the task here is the, it should be task item. So here I go and put the task item in the list. And once we have added the task item and our loops are ended, in the end, what I am doing here is I am performing the DML operations on the task. So here I go and put the insert task list. And if case we are getting any exception, here I go and print that exception message. So system.debug exception while creating the task, and here I go and put the ex.get message so that we can capture all the failure detail. Let me repeat what all different things that I have done for this demo. I have created the batch class. In this batch class, first I am selecting all the records where the industry is of type energy. Intentionally, to fire the error message, I am making the account name as null, and after that I am updating the account list. As I want to do the error handling with the help of platform event, here I have implemented the interface, that is database.raises platform event. Now the next thing that I am doing here is to handle those platform event messages. I am creating here the trigger. In that trigger, I am creating the trigger on the batch apex error event, and I am handling this under the after insert event. As we don't do the coding inside the trigger, I have created the helper class and invoking the helper class if in case the event is an after insert event. Now the next thing that I am doing here is, in this event class, first I am getting what all jobs which are making this platform event execute. So for that I got the async apex job ID here. Once I got the async apex job ID, to get the class name, I'm making the query to the async apex job object. If I after I make that query, next thing that I am doing here is I am getting that class name and comparing with the class name that I have created, and if both are matched, then I am iterating over the events and creating the task. In the event, we do have the ID stored under the job scope field, which is of type text area, and the values are stored in this field separated by the comma. So by using the split, I have converted that string into the collection, and I am iterating over it, and based on the record IDs, I am creating the different tasks. Once all the record IDs has been created, once all the task has been populated in my collection, here I am inserting the task. Let me go and deploy this now, and also I will go and deploy the triggers as well. So here I go and deploy the trigger too. So here my trigger is failing because I have put the wrong class name. Let me go and correct it and deploy this one more time. Now to invoke the batch Apex, you have to navigate to the developer console. On the developer console, type the database.execute batch, and here you have to pass the instance of the batch class. If you go and execute this now, you will see that the batch class is failing. You can see that here the update failed, first exception on the batch class, and the expectation here is the new task record should automatically be created. For that, you can navigate to the task object. On my org, I have set the filter here under the open task list. I have set the filter here as the filter by owner, and I have put here the all task, because the new task that it will be creating, it is creating with the automated process user. We already discussed about the automated process user in our previous part. So if you go here and sort this with the help of last modified list, here you will see that a new records are created in your org with the system.dml exception. If you go and open any record, the owner of the record here is the automated process, and the this is the error detail that we have logged in the description. Error logged by batch class for demo, and this is the exception type that we are getting, and this error is linked to this oil, gas, and the gas Singapore. So here also, if you go, you will see the same task detail. Okay, so this is how, folks, you can go and fire the platform events by using the batch apex. I hope you folks found this session helpful and got some new learning from this session. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section as well. Thank you. Have a good time.